What's up, everyone? Welcome back, or welcome to my channel if it's your first time. I'm back for another solo video. I've done a good long chunk of time doing strictly interviews, and so now we are back. I am back for today, doing a solo video, obviously, by myself. And today's video, I wanted to talk about using magic for self-alchemy and inner changes, and what that means, and how to do it. Now, this is just my opinion. Do with it what you will. But I believe that doing magic specifically for the purpose of changing our inner selves is arguably one of the best and most powerful ways that we can use magic. The most powerful magic that we can do. Because as I've learned on my own journey with magic and spirituality and whatnot, is that we can only affect the outer world so much relative to what's going on with us and within us. A lot of you may be familiar with, or some of you may be familiar with, the Hermetic law of correspondence, of as above, so below, as within, so without. And that refers to, as it sounds, the inner world matching the exterior in whatever sort of paradigm you want to apply that to, not just within ourselves, but within other templates as well. But today I'm strictly just talking about within ourselves. And so a lot of people, myself included, got into magic because I wanted more money. And so I picked up some magic books that would bring me more money, like the Magickal Cash book and Wealth Magic. These rituals, this magic has brought me more money. But what's really happening behind the scenes in our inner world, in my inner world, is that as I'm doing this magic to change the exterior, I am actually changing on the interior to align and to become the person that is capable of handling more money, that attracts more money, that is in that energy of the abundance that I desire. And I'm still on my way. I'm not like done. I have yet to see an instance where somebody does magic for $1 million if you're just, a middle-class citizen or wherever, and gets $1 million instantly. That's not really how it works. Magic, when we really do magic with intention, requires changes. And in order to change the outside, we must change the inside. So if you're new to this channel, I have a whole bunch of videos on my wealth magic journey, on other magic books and stuff like that. If you've been on this channel for a while, you may have seen them. If not, they're still there. You can go watch them. And so what I've found in these journeys, in these books that I've done, especially the longer term books like Wealth Magic, is that yes, I did acquire more money and more wealth. But what I really find in hindsight that I acquired more of was an inner wealth, a rich tapestry of life that has expanded into several different areas wherever I've directed my will to go. And along the way of this journey of getting this more money that I want to get and whatever, what the magic is really making me do, and okay, it's not making me do it, but what it asks for is to transform myself so that I can be that person who makes the millions of dollars, or whatever my goal may be. And sometimes that takes a long time, because for myself, which is the only experience I can speak from, I'm a creative person. I have a lot of creative projects. I'm a writer. I'm doing this YouTube. I'm doing some other stuff. And I make my money, most of my money, through these creative pursuits. And so, what's being shaped along the way, in addition to just receiving more money, is my ability to create, growing as a creator, growing as a writer, growing as a communicator, growing as a piano teacher, growing as a business owner, learning these things and becoming these things so that I can attract what these things can bring to me in its maximum capacity. So how do we begin to do magic for self-alchemy? Because when people begin, typically from what I understand and from what I hear from the people I've talked to and from myself included, people don't go into magic thinking I'm gonna change myself so that I can get this thing. No, we're usually thinking about no, I want this thing, so how do I get it? Whether that's love, whether that's money, whether that's whatever it may be. Few times, unless you've been an armchair magician for a long time and you have studied all the things and you're like, well, this is how I know how to do this. But few times do people actually realize oh, no, I need to change. I need to do the work to attract and manifest the specific outcome that I'm desiring. And we can do that through many ways, not even just through magic, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about how we can do it through magic. I mean, a lot of the Gallery of Magic books work well, whether it's Angels of Alchemy, Mystical Words of Power, Greater Words of Power, whatever those may, honestly, just about any of the Gallery of Magic books can be used for that purpose of self-alchemy. And along the way, even if we pick up the book with the intention of I want a new job, so I'm going to get this new job. Well, what is needed for us to get this new job, especially if it's something in a field that we've never done before? Or if it's the next level, right? Or if we just got out of college and we are in an entry level position in some job, we are not yet in that energy or in that level able to do that job to the level that we one day can to make that money. So along the way, in order to become this person, in order to become the right fit, we are changing. I am changing. And I can support myself, I can assist myself in making these changes by using magic. If I'm intentional with the magic that I'm picking, I can assist in the transformations needed. So let's say I'm doing magic for a new job. And I want to manifest, whatever the job may be, I don't know, just a new job. Well, if it's a job as, I don't know, an editor or something, and my level of focus isn't that great. Well, let's say I apply for this job, I get the job as an editor, and I'm like, oh fuck, I almost have imposter syndrome because do I really know how to edit? Yes, I know how to edit. But what I can do is use other tools, other resources for magic, whether it's a Gallery of Magic book, whether it's another magic book, whether it's something that you create intuitively just by using breath work and intention and manifestation. I can become that level of focus that is needed for that job to make me a better editor and to make more money and to level up in that field and to do the best that I can to make that sort of money. Does that make sense so far? I hope it makes sense. Nobody's here to answer that question, but I hope it makes sense so far. From where I am now to where I was when I started magic, it's a completely new life, a completely different, I am a different person. I am a changed person than I was 7 or 8 years ago when I started magic. And a lot of that reason is because of doing magic and realizing, and some of the ways that I've learned this is by doing magic for a specific outcome. Like, yes, there's been times when I've used my cash book and wanted to get maybe $2,000 and it hasn't worked because it didn't just fall into my lap and I didn't necessarily take the steps that were needed in order to acquire $2,000 more dollars. I will say that using the Magickal cash book has worked for me more than it has not worked, but it always has to be relative to the situation. And so I've learned with these attempts and these lack of results that happen sometimes, that okay, these results aren't happening because I'm not the person, I'm not in the energy that will attract that will meet that at the same level. As above, so below. The inner has to match the outer. So in order to really create any profound changes on the outside, it first must take place on the inside. Another example, which is less so magic as far as ceremonial magic and more so an example, just a sort of manifestation breathing technique that I did recently, was that I have this goal of traveling out of the country next year. And I have about, 6 months or so to save X amount of money for this. And that, like lately, I've been thinking about, okay, what is needed of me to acquire that money so that I can go on this and not have to put it on my credit card or something, and to take this opportunity. And so I was sitting down, I've been doing this daily meditation now every day for the last 45 days. And it begins with the box breathing, the 4 breaths or 4 counts in of breathing, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. And I had the thought as I was meditating of using that meditation to listen and receive the best ways, find clarity as to how I could make this trip happen. Because it's something that's outside of my budget currently, but it's not an impossibility. And what I found, or what I did, was that as I breathed in, I imagined that I was inhaling the energy that I needed to be of that person who's already on that trip, of doing what it takes, of having done what it takes, past tense, having done what it takes to make that trip happen, and that I'm in that energy of being on that trip in another foreign country and having a time of my life or whatever is going to happen. I'm absorbing that when I inhale, and then when I hold it, I'm maintaining it. I am embodying it. I am letting, during those 4 counts of me holding my breath, I'm letting it seep into my being. I'm alchemizing it into me. And feeling what it would feel like emotionally, mentally, physically, to be on that trip doing those things. And then with the exhale, I imagine that is me beginning to act now in the present moment on those things that I need to do in order to make this manifestation happen, in order to embody that energy of change that I so need or so want, so that I can go on this trip. And then with the holding, after we exhale, it's the consistency, the consistent effort of making those changes. And true transformation doesn't just happen overnight, it takes time. And so in books like Success Magic or Wealth Magic, what's really happening during that half a year or a year or however long it takes to complete those sorts of books are these alchemical changes within us. And that we have to be willing, I have to be willing to change. I have to be willing to be more disciplined or be more structured, or budget more or work out more or whatever it is that I want to achieve. I have to be willing to do it, and do it more than just one day. I have to be willing to maintain it if I really want to make an effort to change, right? It takes 3 weeks or 30 days or something to develop a new habit. And so as I was doing this meditation, as I was doing the breathing and everything, that too is an act of magic. In some of the Gallery of Magic books, I know they don't really ever talk about breathing techniques or anything, but there is this process of envisioning what you want and then embodying that and then giving gratitude that you already have it. And then what's supposed to happen, what really gets the magic working, is embodying that energy, going out into the world and making the changes necessary, and holding on to that energy that we have found in the magic, that the magic is helping us to bring alive within us. And then it is up to us to execute. It is up to us to go out and do the things we need to do. Because never, and I don't say the word never often, and maybe I'm wrong, but I would almost confidently say that never does it work without us doing anything. In fact, that's a lot of the reason why magic doesn't work, is because we aren't willing to make those changes due to programming limitations, due to external factors, due to fear, due to blockages, due to whatever it is within us that's held us back, that holds us back. That's what stops the magic from working. If we have these limitations, if this programming is telling us one thing, but we want another thing, we have to be willing to reprogram ourselves. We have to be willing to alchemize this new energy and change and evolve so that we can hold on to the manifestations that we want. Because even if I did magic and it helped me to win the lottery tomorrow, if I had done that, would I have the discipline to make that money last, to retire at 30 years old and never work a day in my life? Or would I spend it all on a boat and a house and a this and that, and then it be gone? And then what? I think what we really want when we do magic, and maybe I don't speak for everyone, is to maintain the reward, is to keep the reward for the long term. I don't want to just get wealth one day and then not be wealthy. No, I want to create a life of wealth. And that means having to create an interior life of wealth, an inner life of wealth as well. Gallery of Magic books are a great resource. Breathwork and meditation is a great resource. But what is most important is our own willingness to change. Our own willingness to do what it takes, become what it takes to receive. What's happening with alchemy is it's not programming something new within us that's not there already. We have what it takes to live the life of our dreams, whatever that looks like. 2018 me, 2017, 2018 me, version of me, much love to her. But I would not be able, that past self would not be able to do what I do now in the state that I was in at that time. I've had to evolve and change and grow along the way and level up in that way. And then more things come that ask me to go to the next level. And the universe will continually bring us things that are asking us to level up. And when we turn those opportunities down because of fear or because we don't see how it's possible, that shows a lack of willingness to level up. We are adaptable humans. We can make these changes. Humans have the free will to choose to not do that. And so it's like, okay, well, time to get out of my own way. If I really want to make some changes, let's fucking do the work. Magic does work. I have witnessed firsthand multiple times how much magic works. And as I said, when it doesn't work, it's usually because I have not done what I need to do in order to make that change. Whether it's a taking action or whether it's some energy that I haven't embodied. But when I am willing, and when I am able, and when I take those actions, it will work. So thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it helpful. It's kind of cool to be doing a solo video again. Honestly, the interviews have been really fun though. So if you've been watching those, thank you. I know they're long, but honestly, like long, turn it on during a car drive. Like if you haven't listened to it. I've interviewed some really cool people, some really wonderful, magical people. And I have learned so much through that process. And it's not done. I'm not like done with interviews forever. But this year has been a lot focused on interviews. And it's been really neat to connect with people from all over the world in this process and to learn about myself through these people as well and to learn and hear their stories. So I hope everyone's having a good September. Speaking of alchemy, we're in the season of change. So if there's any changes you want to make, maybe it's a good time now that fall is coming to us, is going to be upon us soon. Now that the leaves are changing, the seasons are changing, what other changes can happen? As always, guys, I haven't said this in a while because I've been doing interviews, but stay kind, stay curious, and until next time, peace.